Before we even make it through the yard, Ty's reply was sharp, cold, and merciless. We don't need to fight them all. We just need to break through, get inside, expose him. Once Amy sees who he really is, once Jack hears the truth with his own ears, Nathan is finished. His words cut like steel, but beneath them was desperation. He was gambling everything, their lives, their strength, their last shred of hope, on one reckless charge. Ashley's voice was steadier than anyone expected. Then we make this count. No hesitation, no turning back. The plan was madness, but madness was all they had left. Ty's eyes swept the yard again. Nathan's men moved like predators, their dark silhouettes sharp against the glow from the house. Some smoked, some laughed quietly, but all of them radiated the same cold discipline. They weren't ranch hands, they were mercenaries. Nathan had bought himself an army to guard his secret, and that secret was the foundation of everything he had built. If it crumbled, he crumbled with it. Ty thought of Amy's smile, her laugh, the way she looked at him all those years ago when they were just kids chasing dreams across the wide Alberta sky. That memory was his fire now. He wouldn't let Nathan steal it. Not tonight, not ever. He gave one final look at his friends, Caleb, a storm of fury barely contained, and Ashley, her lips pressed into a line of determination. This was it, the moment everything would shatter. "On my mark," Ty whispered. The air was thick with dread as they braced themselves. The house glowed warmly, mocking them with its promise of love and celebration. In truth, it was a cage, a gilded trap, and Amy was its prize. Ty's voice cut through the darkness like thunder. "Now!" They surged forward, exploding out from the cover of the wall and into the open. The sudden movement shattered the false calm of the night. Shouts erupted, flashlights snapped to life, beams slicing across the yard. The army of shadows roared into action, boots pounding against the ground as the net closed in. Caleb barreled through the first line like a raging bull, his fists swinging with raw, unstoppable fury. One man went down hard, another staggered back, and for a brief, burning second, it looked like they might actually make it. Ashley was right behind him, her nails clawing, her teeth gritted, every inch of her a fighter. Ty, faster, sharper, more focused than ever, tore through the chaos like a blade, his body moving with lethal precision. He wasn't just fighting men, he was fighting fate itself. But numbers crushed hope. For every mercenary who fell, two more closed in. The yard exploded into a storm of fists, boots, and chaos. Caleb roared, Ashley screamed. Ty grunted with every bone-crushing strike, but still, they were being swallowed alive by the sheer weight of the enemy. Then Ty's eyes locked on the window of the house. He saw her, Amy, standing there in her dress, radiant, beautiful, and tragically unaware of the war raging just outside. The sight drove him harder, faster, beyond the breaking point. Every muscle burned, every vein screamed, but he didn't stop. He couldn't. The mercenaries finally dragged them down, wrenching their arms behind their backs, forcing them into the dirt. Caleb cursed, thrashing like a chained bull. Ashley spat blood and defiance at the boots pressing her down. Ty's chest heaved, his face bruised and bloodied, but his eyes never left the house. And then Nathan stepped out. Dressed in his sharp suit, smiling that hollow smile, he looked down at the three broken fighters with the calm arrogance of a man who believed himself untouchable. Behind him, the golden glow of the house spilled out, wrapping him in false warmth. But his words were ice. "You never learn, do you, Ty?" Nathan's voice carried across the yard like a blade. "This is my world now. Heartland belongs to me, Amy belongs to me, and you? You're just a ghost of the past, too stubborn to stay buried." Ty spat blood into the dirt and glared up at him, his voice raw but unbreakable. "She'll see the truth. She'll see what you are, and when she does, you're finished." For the first time, Nathan's smile faltered. Just a flicker, just enough. And Ty knew he had struck the nerve. The war for Heartland had only just begun. The air around Heartland was thick with tension, the kind that made every breath feel like it carried the weight of the world. The mercenaries tightened their grip on Ty, Caleb, and Ashley, forcing their faces into the dirt. But even as blood mixed with soil, Ty's mind wasn't on his own pain. It was locked on Amy. She was inside, moments from making the biggest mistake of her life, and every second wasted out here was another second closer to losing her forever. Caleb let out a guttural roar, straining against the crushing force of two men holding him down. His muscles bulged, his body quivered, but the enemy was relentless. One of the goons slammed a knee into his back, grinding him further into the ground. "Stay down, cowboy," the mercenary hissed, his voice dripping with contempt. Caleb's answer was a muffled curse, his rage boiling hotter with every heartbeat. Ashley, though battered, refused to break. She twisted violently, nails raking across the wrist of the man restraining her. He cursed as she drew blood, but his grip didn't falter. Her face was smeared with dirt and sweat, but her eyes, those sharp, defiant eyes, never dimmed. She was no longer the girl who sought comfort and safety. She was a warrior, standing in the dirt of Heartland, ready to give everything for the people she loved. Nathan walked closer, his shoes crunching softly over the gravel, his smirk unshaken despite Ty's defiance. The sight of him made Ty's blood boil. Nathan wasn't just a liar, he was a conqueror in disguise. He had wormed his way into Amy's trust, into Jack's ranch, into the very soul of Heartland. And now, standing there like a king surveying broken peasants, he looked more dangerous than ever. "You really think you can stop this?" Nathan sneered, spreading his arms as though presenting his empire. "Look around you, Ty. My men control every inch of this ranch. Every door, every window, every exit, sealed. And Amy?" His grin widened cruelly. "She's about to become mine in every way that matters. You lost. Accept it." Ty's voice cut through the night, sharp and defiant, even as blood dripped from his lip. "She's not yours. She never will be. Because lies can build walls, Nathan, but truth tears them down. And tonight, your truth comes out." Nathan's smirk faltered again, just for a second, but he quickly masked it with a laugh. Yet that moment was enough. Caleb saw it. Ashley saw it. Even the mercenaries glanced at each other uneasily. Nathan wasn't invincible. He had cracks, and Ty was determined to rip them wide open. Before Nathan could respond, the sound of a door slamming broke the night. All heads turned. Jack Bartlett stepped out from the barn, his frame outlined by the lantern light spilling from behind him. His presence alone was enough to change the air, to shake the false confidence Nathan projected. Jack wasn't armed. He wasn't flanked by soldiers. But he didn't need to be. He was Heartland itself, unyielding, proud, and dangerous in his own way. "Get your damn hands off my family!" Jack's voice thundered across the yard, deep and commanding. The mercenaries hesitated, their grip loosening slightly as they glanced toward Nathan. For the first time, the facade of control wavered. Nathan's jaw tightened. He turned sharply toward his men. "Hold them!" he barked. But there was something desperate in his tone now, a sharp edge that betrayed unease. Ty felt the shift, and he seized it like a lifeline. He strained against the hands holding him, his voice rising like fire. "Jack!" Nathan's been lying to everyone. He's hiding something bigger than you know. He's not here for Amy. He's here to bury the truth. And if she marries him, Heartland is gone forever. Jack's eyes narrowed, his face a storm of suspicion. Nathan stepped forward, his charm flickering back into place as he tried to retake control. "Don't listen to him, Jack. He's unstable, desperate, clinging to a past that's over. Amy's happy. That's all that matters." But Jack didn't answer. His silence was heavier than words, his eyes locked on Ty, searching for truth. Nathan's mask cracked again, just slightly, but it was enough. Ashley, sensing the moment, shouted with every ounce of strength left in her, "Nathan isn't who he says he is. We saw it. We know the truth. He's got men, money, and secrets, but none of it is real. He's a fraud." The mercenaries shifted uneasily, their grips tightening and loosening in nervous rhythm. Nathan's carefully crafted image of control was fraying. The fortress of lies was trembling at its core. Caleb, still pinned, roared like a bull in a rodeo arena, his voice shaking the night. "Jack, you know us. You know Heartland. Do you really think this snake built any of this? He's here to take it, to take Amy, to take everything, but he can't have it, because Heartland isn't his. It never was, and it never will be. For a split second, the world seemed to freeze. Jack's gaze shifted between the battered faces of Ty, Caleb, and Ashley, then back to Nathan's smug smile. The old man's silence was unbearable, the weight of his judgment hanging in the night like a hammer waiting to fall. Nathan, sensing his grip slipping, leaned closer to Jack, his voice lowered but sharp. Don't let their chaos poison this family. Amy chose me. This is her future. Don't let the ghosts of the past ruin it. Jack's eyes narrowed to slits. His next words cracked like thunder. Then let Amy decide. With the truth laid bare. The silence that followed was explosive. Nathan froze, his mask of charm shattered. His eyes darkened, and his lips curled into something far uglier than a smile. The army he had built, the lies he had spun, the wedding he had planned, it was all teetering on the edge of collapse. And Ty knew the battle for Heartland was no longer fought in shadows. It was about to erupt in the open, with truth and lies colliding in a war that could shatter everything. The yard of Heartland was a battlefield of silence, the kind of silence that weighed heavier than gunfire. Ty's words still hung in the air, echoing in Jack's mind, while Nathan's carefully built mask was splintering piece by piece. Amy was still inside, untouched by the storm outside, but the moment was closing in fast. Her future was about to be ripped open. The mercenaries kept their grip on Ty, Caleb, and Ashley, but hesitation flickered in their eyes. These weren't loyal men defending a cause. They were hired fists, men paid to obey. Yet even money has limits, and Nathan's grip on his army was showing cracks. Ty noticed every shift, every glance exchanged, every twitch of doubt. He knew, if truth cut deep enough, it wouldn't just reach Amy, it would reach them too. Jack stepped forward, his boots steady against the dirt, and stopped only a few feet from Nathan. His face was hard, unreadable, but his presence was crushing. Nathan tried to stand taller, but next to Jack, his arrogance looked cheap, fragile. You say Amy chose you? Jack's voice was calm but sharp, like a blade being unsheathed. Then let her see what kind of man she's marrying. Right now. No more lies. Nathan's smile didn't return this time. His jaw tightened, his eyes darkened. He knew the truth was a blade aimed at his throat. That's unnecessary, he snapped, a little too quickly. She doesn't need to be dragged into this spectacle. This is between me and them. No, Jack thundered, his voice so fierce it made even the mercenaries flinch. This is about family. And if you're marrying Amy, you damn well answer for who you are. Caleb barked out a laugh, bitter and raw, despite the pain in his body. What's the matter, Nathan? Afraid of the truth? Afraid Amy will see the snake hiding under that shiny suit? The words cut, and Nathan spun on him with venom in his eyes. For a heartbeat, his polished mask fell away, revealing the predator beneath. You should have stayed gone, he snarled. All of you. I buried you once. I'll do it again. The slip was fatal. Jack's head snapped toward Nathan, suspicion solidifying into rage. Buried them? He repeated, his voice low but deadly. What the hell are you talking about? Nathan froze, realizing too late what he had revealed. The mercenaries exchanged quick looks. Even they weren't supposed to know everything. A ripple of doubt tore through the ranks. Ty's heart pounded, seizing the moment. He's lying to you all. Ty's voice was a thunderclap in the night. Nathan's not just some rich man marrying into Heartland. He's been running something darker, something hidden right here. We saw it. We lived it. He locked us away, tried to erase us. And if Amy says I do tonight, he'll own everything. Her, this ranch, and all of you. Ashley, bloodied but unbroken, added her voice, her tone cutting sharp and true. He doesn't want Amy's love. He wants her silence, because she's the one person who can stop him. She's the light he can't control. That's why he built this army. That's why he turned Heartland into a prison, not for protection, but to keep the truth buried. The night quivered with their words. The mercenaries shifted again, some loosening their grips, some glancing uneasily toward Nathan. His control was slipping fast, his empire of lies collapsing under the weight of exposed truth. Nathan's voice rose, harsh and desperate. Don't listen to them. They're liars, criminals, troublemakers who want to tear this family apart. Amy knows who I am. She trusts me. That's what matters. But Nathan made the mistake of raising his voice too loud. The barn door opened again. And this time, it wasn't Jack who stepped out. It was Amy. Dressed in white, her hair shimmering in the lantern light, she stood frozen at the threshold, her eyes wide with shock. She had heard enough. The raised voices, the accusations, the word buried echoing like a curse. The music inside had stopped, silence swallowing the celebration. Behind her, a few guests spilled out, whispering, confusion spreading like wildfire. Amy. Nathan's voice softened instantly, his arrogance melting into syrupy charm. He stepped forward, extending a hand, his smile practiced, desperate. You shouldn't be out here. It's nothing, just noise. Come inside, love. But Amy didn't move. Her eyes weren't on him. They were locked on Ty. And in that moment, Ty saw it. The flicker of doubt in her gaze, the beginning of realization. His body ached, his blood dripped, but his spirit roared. This was his chance. This was the opening he had bled for. Amy. Ty's voice cracked through the night, raw and desperate. Don't listen to him. Nathan's been lying since the start. He's hiding something so dark it could destroy everything you love. He locked us away. He's using you, using Heartland as his shield. Don't let him. Amy's lips parted, her breath catching, the weight of the moment pressing on her. Nathan, sensing his entire world slipping, lunged closer, his voice frantic now. Don't listen! He's just bitter, jealous. He'll say anything to ruin this. He doesn't care about you, Amy. He cares about control. But those words were poison, and everyone knew it. Because if there was one thing Amy Fleming knew, it was Ty's heart. And she could see it burning in his eyes, every word dripping with pain and truth. Jack stepped closer to her, his voice softer now but still sharp as iron. Amy, look at him. Look at Nathan. Then look at Ty. One's hiding, the other's bleeding truth. You decide who you believe. The crowd of whispers swelled behind her, the mercenaries tightening and loosening their grips in confusion. The war for Amy's heart, for Heartland itself, had come to a breaking point. And as Amy's gaze shifted between Nathan's desperate charm and Ty's raw, bloody defiance, the world seemed to stop. The next words from her lips would decide everything. Amy's silence was more powerful than any scream. Her lips trembled, her hands shook, and the weight of two worlds pressed down on her chest. One world was safety, wealth, a marriage that promised stability, Nathan's world. The other was truth, chaos, and fire. Ty's world, both demanded her loyalty, but only one was real. Nathan took another step forward, his hand outstretched like a snake ready to coil. Amy, don't let them confuse you. They're trying to poison your mind. You know me. You've seen what I can give you. A future free of pain, free of struggle. I can protect you. Protect this ranch. Amy's eyes filled with tears. Her voice was faint, but sharp enough to cut. Protect me? Or control me? The crowd gasped, a wave of murmurs spilling out like thunder across the night. Nathan's mask cracked again, but he forced a laugh, forced a smile. His teeth clenched so tightly it was almost a snarl. Amy, you're tired. You don't know what you're saying. You've been under stress. No, Amy snapped, her voice louder now, fierce despite the fear in her eyes. I know exactly what I'm saying. She turned, her gaze shifting to Ty. Tell me everything, Ty. No more half-truths. What did Nathan do? The mercenary stiffened, all eyes on Ty. Jack's face was grim, but steady. Caleb and Ashley exchanged a look, a silent signal. They knew the storm was about to explode. Ty's chest heaved, his body trembling from exhaustion, but his voice rang with unshakable force. Amy, Nathan didn't just lie to you. He built a kingdom of lies around this place. He locked us away, tried to erase us because we knew too much. We found his files, his records, proof that he's been funneling money, using Heartland as a cover. He's not here for love, Amy. He's here to own you, to own this ranch, to bury every piece of truth that could expose him. Amy's hand flew to her mouth, shock etched into every line of her face. The crowd erupted again, whispers turning to outrage, eyes shifting toward Nathan with doubt and disgust. Nathan's face twisted with rage, his mask finally shattering. Enough! he roared, the sound so sharp it silenced everyone. His voice thundered across the ranch. You think I care about your pathetic whispers? You think I care about this little family circus? No, I care about power. And I've already won. He raised his hand, snapping his fingers. The mercenaries closed in tighter, their guns pressing harder against Ty, Caleb, and Ashley. The crowd screamed, panic rippling as fear choked the night. But the mercenaries hesitated. Some stepped forward, others froze, uncertainty clouding their faces. The truth Ty had spoken had cracked their loyalty wide open. Jack's fists clenched, his eyes blazing as he stepped between Amy and Nathan. You're not taking her. You're not taking this ranch. You've already lost. Nathan's eyes narrowed, venom dripping from his words. You old fool. You think you can stop me? I've buried stronger men than you. I've burned families to ash. Do you think a washed-up cowboy and a broken ranch hand can stand against me? Caleb, despite his bruised body, forced himself upright, spitting blood onto the ground. His voice was like fire. You'll never bury us again. Not here. Not in Heartland. Ashley's voice joined his, sharp and unbreakable. This is our home, Nathan. Not your empire. The mercenaries faltered further, the weight of divided loyalty dragging them down. And then, one of them, his gun shaking, lowered his weapon. Another followed. A ripple spread, and suddenly Nathan's so-called army didn't look like soldiers anymore. They looked like men questioning everything. Nathan spun on them, his fury unchained. Traitors! You're nothing without me! You'd be rotting in the gutter if not for my money! But no one moved. No one stepped forward. His power was crumbling in real time, his grip slipping like sand through his fingers. Amy stepped closer, her fear dissolving into rage, her voice steady as stone. You used me. You used all of us. You think you can break Heartland, but you don't understand it. This place isn't yours to own. It's ours to protect. The crowd cheered, their voices rising in unity, their strength drowning Nathan's arrogance. And for the first time, Nathan looked small, cornered, a predator whose teeth had been broken. Ty locked eyes with Amy, blood and sweat dripping from his face, but his spirit burning brighter than ever. Amy, this is it. We end him tonight. Or he takes everything. Nathan's jaw tightened, his eyes darting around as if searching for an escape. But there was none. His army was gone, his lies exposed, his power shattered. And yet, deep in his eyes, there was still a dangerous glimmer. The look of a man who would rather burn everything than lose it. The war for Heartland wasn't over. It was about to explode into its deadliest moment yet. The air was fire, every breath laced with the weight of war. Nathan's eyes glowed with the madness of a man who had nothing left to lose. His charm, his army, his lies, all stripped away. All he had now was raw desperation. And desperate men are the most dangerous. Amy stood firm, her white dress fluttering in the night breeze, no longer a bride, but a warrior standing in the open. Ty, broken but unyielding, leaned forward against the mercenaries still half holding him, his bloodied face daring Nathan to make his move. Jack, Caleb, and Ashley flanked him, their bodies battered but their spirits unbreakable. Heartland itself seemed to hold its breath, waiting for the final blow. Nathan raised his voice one last time, a guttural snarl that carried across the ranch. You think this is over? You think you've beaten me? Number. If I can't have Amy, if I can't have Heartland, then no one will. I'll burn this place to the ground before I see it in your hands. Gasps tore through the crowd, people stumbling back in horror. Nathan's hand slid inside his coat, pulling something metallic, something gleaming under the dim light. A weapon. His last card. His final act of vengeance. Amy froze, her heart slamming in her chest. But Ty roared, his voice louder than the night itself. No, Nathan! With a surge of impossible strength, he broke free from the mercenaries, his body collapsing forward, but his hands clutching at Nathan's arm. The two men crashed into the dirt, dust rising as the crowd screamed. The ranch erupted in chaos. Guests scattered, Jack lunged forward, Caleb stumbled after him, and Ashley's shrill cry cut through the madness. Ty and Nathan rolled, fists flying, blood mixing with soil. Nathan fought like a cornered beast, clawing, striking, his eyes wild with hate. But Ty fought with something Nathan could never understand: love, loyalty, and a fire forged in pain. Amy's voice tore through the frenzy. Ty, don't let him win! Those words lit Ty's soul ablaze. With a final roar, he pinned Nathan, his fist slamming into the ground beside his head, the weapon clattering away into the dirt. Nathan spat blood, his fury broken, his body trembling under Ty's grip. You'll never own Heartland, Ty growled, every word heavy with truth. You'll never own Amy. This ends now. The crowd surged forward, hands grabbing Nathan, dragging him away, his struggles useless against their numbers. The mercenaries, ashamed, dropped their weapons. Jack stepped in, his voice thundering. Get him out of here! He's finished, Nathan's screams echoed as he was hauled away, his threats empty, his power shattered. His reign of lies was over. Silence followed, a silence so heavy it was almost holy. Amy ran forward, falling to her knees beside Ty, her hands cupping his face. Tears streamed down her cheeks, but her eyes burned with fierce clarity. You saved me, she whispered, her voice breaking. Ty shook his head, his voice hoarse but steady. No, Amy. You saved yourself. You chose truth. You chose Heartland. The crowd cheered, their voices rising like thunder, echoing through the ranch. Jack placed a hand on Ty's shoulder, his eyes glistening with pride. Caleb and Ashley stood tall despite their bruises, their faces lit with relief. Heartland had survived. But beneath the cheers, beneath the relief, there was a shadow. Because even in defeat, Nathan's words lingered like a curse. If I can't have it, no one will. And though the man had been dragged away, the war he ignited had left scars. Deep scars. Scars that would shape the future of Heartland forever. Amy clutched Ty tighter, her voice trembling. It's not over, is it? Ty's eyes, tired but burning, looked out across the dark fields of Heartland. No, he said softly, it's only just begun. The Heartland War had ended its first battle, but the storm was far from finished, and every soul in that ranch knew the darkest secrets had yet to be revealed.